What is a SIPP? Let's look at the structure. A SIPP, or a self-invested pension plan, is a type of defined contribution plan available in the UK. A SIPP is a private scheme and can be started by an individual using personal contributions, or it can be created by transferring from another pension scheme, like an employment defined contribution pension. Tax relief. For UK residents, SIPPs, like other DC schemes, offer tax relief on contributions to the policy, whilst charging income tax on withdrawals. As with other pensions, assets inside a SIPP benefit from gross roll-up, meaning they will grow without being subject to income, dividend, or capital gains taxes. Flexibility. One of the main attractions of a SIPP is the extensive range of investment options available. This can include stocks and shares, government and corporate bonds, mutual funds, exchange-traded funds, and even more unconventional investments like commercial property and gold. This broad choice allows for a high degree of personalization in investment strategy. Costs. SIPPs often carry increased costs when compared to workplace pensions. It varies from provider to provider, but typically SIPPs will cost more. Regulation and protection. SIPPs are regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority, the FCA, and the investments held within them are protected up to certain limits by the Financial Services Compensation Scheme, the FSCS, in the case that the investment provider fails. Transferring your pension to a SIPP. It is possible to transfer your UK pension to a SIPP, but to look at why you might consider it, you'd have to compare your options. For DC employment pensions, it will come down to flexibility versus cost. Compared to most other DC pensions, SIPPs offer the most choice when selecting assets to invest in. Looking at employer pension schemes, they often limit the choice in what employers can invest in to make those choices more accessible to everyone, regardless of their financial knowledge, often offering sometimes 3 options, low risk, medium risk, or high risk, to make those options easier to understand. Furthermore, employers are often more concerned about reducing the possibility of loss for their pension rather than increasing the opportunity for gain. Because when an employer pension scheme loses money, it can often result in bad press, whereas a pension that fails to grow enough doesn't offer that same risk. And lastly, it costs more to administer schemes that can offer a large amount of choice. And for this reason, and the previously listed reasons, employers may restrict the investment options to their employees. The reduction in investment choices can often lead to a lack of growth in pensions, which are supposed to grow considerably in order to provide for you in retirement. Often, employer pension risk options may be deceptive as well, as the risk category could be weighted to satisfy all of the members of the pension. For instance, a high-risk investor who is close to retirement and a high-risk investor who is very young should have drastically different investments to match the different stages in their life. But they could be grouped together in the same risk category and share the same investments in an employment scheme. And when you start to think about ethical considerations that enter into investing, a reduction of pension investment choices can lead to some nasty shocks to some people. For instance, scientists funded by Cancer Research UK, who were part of the university's superannuation scheme, were dismayed to find out their pension contributed to £211 million to British American tobacco in 2016. One scientist stated, "This means even if only indirectly through our time and labour, Cancer Research UK money is invested in growing and supporting the tobacco industry," and called it outrageous. SIPPs, on the other hand, offer much more options, which can allow individuals to tailor their investments to match their risk profile and their ethical considerations. The downsides of this is that SIPPs are often more expensive and require adequate financial knowledge to make key investment decisions that will affect your retirement. And when it comes to transferring a DB scheme or defined benefit scheme, it really comes down to predictability versus flexibility. In order to transfer a DB scheme, it requires giving up predictable income in retirement for a lump sum payout which can be invested into a SIPP. And to do this for any DB benefits valued over £30,000, you must take professional financial advice before doing so. Whilst owning a SIPP allows for more flexible investment choice, more flexible withdrawal of funds in retirement, and allows for the remaining pension to be passed on through inheritance, it comes at the cost of no longer having the financial security of a predictable income in retirement. In conclusion, a SIPP is a pension product designed to allow individuals to take more control over their pensions and choose how it's invested, allowing for more tailored investments suited towards an individual's risk and ethics. It's most suitable for those with a large amount of investment knowledge or those employing professional financial advice. Everyone is different, and I would always recommend seeking financial advice before either starting a new SIPP or transferring existing pensions to a SIPP. I've been Luke Staden. Thanks for watching. If you're looking to get started with investing, now is the perfect time to organise a complimentary consultation with a Black Tower advisor. Black Tower has a footprint in many locations around the globe and will match you with an advisor regulated to give advice in your location. No two people are the same, so it's important that any financial recommendation is tailored to the individual. During the consultation, the advisor will learn about your unique circumstances, your attitude to risk, any ethical concerns you may have, and your long-term goals. Once the advisor understands what your long-term financial objectives are, they will design a plan that suits your circumstances to achieve those goals. To get started, click the link in the description and sign up today.